the non-event of Teresa May's vote of confidence, and we're here with some, I think, socialists or Socialist Party UK. So the socialists are out today. That's good. What's that? End austerity for socialist alternative. How you doing, buddy? You want to be chat? You want to say anything? Oh, that's fine, buddy. This is the Guerilla TV channel. We get all different political opinions. Sorry, let me flip it around, bud, so we get the mic.
Okay.
We're on the Guerilla TV channel.
Hello, mate. Hello. How are you?
Not bad, buddy. My name's David. What's your name?
Theo.
Theo. Nice to meet you, Theo.
You too.
So what's
where are you from? Sorry.
Glasgow.
Oh, okay. But what's the channel called?
The Guerilla TV channel.
Okay, cool.
Guerilla.
Okay.
So I've done interviews with other socialists as well.
Oh, okay, excellent, great.
So
nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So can you just tell us about what's happening just now? What's your what Socialist
Party.
It's a bit like the People's Front of Judea and the Judean People's Front, because I was talking to Colin Fox, who's a Scottish socialist, and he's we've got umpteen socialist, different strands of socialist parties. So it's a bit complex. Why have you not just joined up with Jeremy Corbyn, who's obviously a neo-Marxist? Are you not Marxist then?
Well, I don't think we in the Socialist Party we support Corbyn. I don't think I'd agree with you saying he's a neo-Marxist. But
but he's already said he's great. Well, John McDonnell's already said on YouTube that he's a Marxist. He's a Marxist.
Yeah.
And Diane Abbott is on the television saying that Mao was did more harm than good. Or more good than harm.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't agree with that necessarily. But I also wouldn't say that they were potentially that they were necessarily Marxists. But the reason we haven't yet joined the Labour Party, firstly, I think why we're out here today, obviously the Socialist Party, ever since Brexit, the Brexit referendum result 2 years ago,
Are you pro or anti? Are you pro? Because a lot on the left are actually leavers.
We supported a leave position, a socialist leave position. That's why we've got on our placards here today, end austerity for a socialist alternative to the EU. But the reason we're here today is because we've said as a party that ever since Brexit happened, this would split the Tories down the middle. It would completely expose them.
Because of the Christian Democrat and the Conservatives within that.
The two wings within the Tory party. And we think that this has come to being proven. You've got this massive government crisis at the moment around Brexit. The Tories are split down the middle. We think this presents a huge opportunity to kick out the Tories. But we think that, we need to fight for it. We're glad, we support the fact that Corbyn has tabled this no confidence motion in the government tonight. But we think we need to fight for it.
I think you and I both know that it's not going to happen, though. I think that's...
I think it remains to be seen. Obviously, there's a chance that it might not happen. There's a chance it might do, by the way. Bearing in mind that yesterday Teresa May suffered the biggest parliamentary defeat in history, I think there's going to be a certain layer of Tory MPs, including Labour MPs as well, who are going to be aware of the sheer hypocrisy they would be demonstrating if she got defeated by 400 to 200 votes in Parliament and then they didn't put through a vote of no confidence in her. But we think you're right, there's a chance that the vote of no confidence won't go through tonight. But that's why we think it's not just about what happens in Parliament, it's about what happens out here on the streets. And that's why we say that if we want a general election, if we want a fight to end Tory austerity, to kick out the Tories, we need to mobilise a movement of working class people who've suffered under austerity, of young people, middle class people, students who've all suffered under the Tory government. And we think that's why Corbyn, we support what he's done tonight, but he should go further. He should be making a direct appeal to the millions of working class people who voted for his programme in 2017, to the students who voted for free education when they supported him in 2017, and say, it's not just about me in here, it's about you out there. We need to put the pressure on. Imagine if the trade unions had called for a demonstration for strike actions in the run-up to this vote, to put the pressure, the immense pressure these MPs would be under now tonight, if there were people out on the streets, thousands, by the way, there's 6 million people in the trade unions, if they'd called for strike actions, pushing for the message to kick out the Tories, the pressure that these MPs would be under here tonight to vote for no confidence, to call an early general election, would be vastly increased. So that's sort of the message that we're bringing tonight.
What sort of policies do the socialists want, your brand of socialism? What is your policy?
Well, we want to see the Tory government ended. We want to see the Tories kicked out. We want to see a Corbyn government come to power on a socialist programme and socialist policy. So that would, for example, we support totally what Corbyn had in his programme about, for example, the nationalisation of the railways, the energy companies, the utilities, all these things massively popular. You know, whole nationalisation of Royal Mail, massively popular, even amongst, and by the way, they've now, after Brexit happened, I remember people saying after Brexit, UKIP would become empowered. They virtually disappeared after Brexit.
Yep.
I remember polls saying that 70% of even UKIP supporters wanted to see the nationalisation of the Royal Mail, of the railways. These are massively popular policies amongst working class people, amongst young people. We support all of those points in Corbyn's programme, but we think he needs to go further. We think he needs to not only nationalise certain sections of industry, the railways, but we argue that if he wants to really truly stick to his promises, his anti-austerity manifesto, he needs to nationalise the people who really control the British economy. That's 100 companies, the top FTSE 100 companies who control 80%-ish of the British economy. We think he should nationalise those. We think he should nationalise the banks that caused the massive financial crisis 10 years ago. We think he should nationalise the finance houses.
Very much what's happened in Venezuela.
No, I wouldn't say so, actually. I'd say that, for example, the crisis that has opened up in Venezuela is because what you've seen is a much more thorough programme of nationalisation than what Corbyn puts forward currently. Actually, the crisis in Venezuela, I would argue, and we as a party would argue, has opened up because still significant sections of the economy laying in private control. If you look at the food crisis, which has really opened up now the potential for the food crisis, the economic crisis which has gripped Venezuela, but also, and it relates to Venezuela, you know, here with Corbyn, we wouldn't argue for nationalisation simply in the hands of, you know,
the state.
But we would argue for what we would call the democratic control and management.
Are you a libertarian socialist then?
I wouldn't describe myself as a libertarian, so maybe you'd consider me that. I wouldn't describe myself as a libertarian socialist, but I want to see oh yeah, that's myself. That's weird. We would want to see basically the control, the ownership of the economy, but essentially the resources of our country under the democratic control of me and you, of young people, of working class people, of middle class people, youth and students.
What about setting up my new business? So if I want to be the next Apple, how does that work under your sort of ideology?
Well, I think if you wanted to, I think at the moment, I think for a start we should say that if you have, I don't know if you're an inventor, maybe you are, I'm not an inventor, I'm not that smart, but you know, for example, if I worked in any particular workplace and I had an idea about how to I don't know, I would say innovate, or how to speed up a particular process, make more efficient a particular process in the workplace, in any point of production of goods or distribution of goods, it would be very difficult for me as just a minimum wage worker who has really no channels in the workplace to elaborate on in order to make that happen. We would argue for a system, we would argue that socialism is a system whereby all working class people would have a bit of a say in their daily lives, in their jobs, in their workplaces, on the basis of democratic discussion, meetings, such like that. Assemblies would be able to you know, push through like new inventions, new innovations.
It sounds very much like the sort of ideological dimensions of anarcho-syndicalists, and they've got very similar sort of, well, apart from the nationalisations through the state, but if you're saying that the individuals own it, is it the workers that own the actual? So if it was the post office, you said you didn't want it through the government, would you have it through the like a workers' cooperative type thing?
Well, I think it's a very interesting discussion, by the way. I think what
That's
we
very
want
kind.
I'd say that what we need, and I mean, it's, you know, this in a way is a discussion on, and I mean, this isn't discussions that we don't have, that we shouldn't have. You know, we're socialists. We want to fight for the socialist transformation of society. But at the moment, the tasks of the movement are a little bit divorced from this at this stage. We think the key tasks at this stage for what, you know, the next step forward for the working class, for young people in this country, is to kick out this government, as a start to kick out the Tories, to fight for a Corbyn-led government with socialist policies, which sets its sights higher in terms of nationalisation of the commanding heights of the economy. But importantly also, not just to build a movement to kick out the Tories, but to build a mass working class movement that when a Corbyn government is in power, inevitably he's going to come under pressure from powers that be, so to speak, but more specifically, the section that, you know, like I said, the big business, the tiny handful of individuals that do control the British economy. All of these different sections of society are going to put him under massive pressure to retreat on his policies, to retreat on his promises, his anti-austerity promises. That's why we stand for the building of a working class movement that not only can kick out the Tories, but can aid Corbyn under that situation and say, you know, we don't want you to retreat, we want you to not only stick to your promises, but to go further. And we think that a movement could develop under Corbyn that would actually push him far to the left of where he ever intended to go from his starting position. You know, that's what we think is possible.
So are you like a pressure group then, or are you a political party?
We're a political party, yeah. We're a political party which does work in all different areas. You know, we do work amongst the youth, in the colleges, in the universities, but we do work in the trade unions, you know, we do work on all sorts. You know, we're a campaigning organisation, we campaign against austerity, against cuts to the NHS, we campaign for decent housing, against 0 hours contracts to kick out the Tories, and we conduct, you know, we do our work in the trade unions because we think that, you know, still they are a big key in all of this. British trade unions have around about 6 million members. That's the biggest organisation in the country. They have massive potential, so we do, you know, tireless work in the trade unions in order to try and get the trade union leaders, who unfortunately, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, are divorced from the interests of their rank and file members. We want to make them take more concrete action to advance the interests of working class and young people. So we do work in those areas as well, but fundamentally we think we need to link the demands which face or rather the important questions, the burning questions which face people today, which, you know, are for working class people are going to be shit wages, 0 hours contracts, the housing crisis, cuts to local services at local authority level, council austerity. We campaign actively and tirelessly in all of these areas to fight to improve the day-to-day lives of working class people, but we will always link those struggles to the fundamental need that if we want to keep these gains, if we want to fight for a more secure future, a more secure living, working class and young people, we need to link these day-to-day campaigns and struggles to a more fundamental need to transform society, and we think that is a fight for a socialist society.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
what was your name?
David Ballantyne.
David Ballantyne.
And Guerilla TV channel.
Okay.
Guerilla's Guerilla.
Okay, excellent.
Okay,
Lovely.
Thanks, buddy. So that was quite interesting. So, Nicola Sturgeon has been down meeting the MPs and the Scottish SNP MPs down at Westminster. She must have known I was down. And they are now talking about a second referendum for Scotland. So, I mean, it's quite an incredible thing. All these other, if you don't get the right policy, then you have to vote again. So, I mean, if you're doing it on post-election, the Leave election or the EU election, that the polling doesn't really marry up sometimes with the actual results. So the polling can be very much gerrymandered. However, Nicola Sturgeon is now wanting, so she's basically wanting, which I think is a political oxymoron, independence in Europe. So I don't know how you get independence in Europe. You either are independent or you're not, and independence in Europe is not one of them. And now as I said, there's 1 million people who voted to leave the EU in Scotland. The Remain side, I mean, obviously the rest of the UK is our biggest export market, or from the Scottish economy's point of view, is our biggest export market. It's bigger than the EU is. So we would be leaving the British common market to be in the European common market, which is financially smaller. It's not as large as the common market or the common market in the UK through the different countries within the UK. We export more to the rest of the UK than we do to the EU. So this must be ideologically driven then. And it's quite an incredible situation that Nicola Sturgeon wants us to be part of an undemocratic EU, and we're continually doing these referendums over and over again to get the answer that we require. So I'm just going to flip you around here and you can see how large the gathering is for all the press just now. Now, this is a complete political non-event because Teresa May is going to win the actual confidence vote that's happening just now. So although she had the biggest defeat, and by all bang to rights she should have left, she is not going to be sacked, and she won't be, oh there you are there, and she won't be sacked. And I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. She's not going to be sacked. She's not going to be able to have another vote against her for another year, and she's going to continue on. So I think she'll try and repackage the deal. Said renegotiate, and so they're basically not going to renegotiate the deal, and we're now really at a very much a political limbo situation where there is are you coming in? Political where there is no way of, it's like a political impasse where she can't get the deal through. So it's a major problem for her to actually get the deal through, and why she's actually going to, how she's going to get it through Parliament is just going to be beyond me. I mean, it's just an incredibly strange situation where how is she going to manage to get this deal through? Is she going to repackage it? If the EU is not going to negotiate, she's going to repackage it, because obviously the EU today has been on the television saying that renegotiate, and we should just forget the EU, or we should just forget Brexit and just cancel it. So I mean, that's just incredible, absolutely incredible. Let me just slide this bound.
And this is a message to the Conservative government. Your time in power is over. We say to MPs, hear us now here. We represent people who are dead because of the Tory government. Dead because of personal independence business assessment. Dead because of work capability assessment. Dead because of social care. The message to the media. The Tory cops are killing people. And that is the truth you don't like. But you hear us now, and you hear us loud and clear. Because we are not going to take this anymore. And this is a message to the mainstream media. You need to take responsibility for pushing the government's rhetoric out into the public agenda that has caused mass division in our communities. Because of that, we have seen a hostile environment the likes we've never seen. Hate crime towards the BME community, towards disabled people, has rocketed, even more so since Brexit. The Met Police's own figures stated that Islamophobia had risen 78% in 12 months after Brexit. That since 2010, hate crime towards disabled people has more than doubled. We say to all of you, we're going to hold you to account for impressing this hostile environment. But this is a message to the Tory government. While there is no justice for us, there will never be any peace for you. And we will never stop campaigning until we get you out of power. And this is a message to the people of the UK. This is your NHS. This is your welfare state. These are your libraries. These are your local services. These are your streets. And it's absolutely appalling that since 2010, we have seen a rise of homelessness, 135%. The use of food banks are imploding. We implore the people of the UK, get active, join the campaign, and help us get this government out.
So, I think that's the socialist workers, is it? The socialist workers?
Yeah.
Fantastic. What's your name? Do I do the interview?
Who's it for?
I'm on the Guerilla. Oh, sorry, flip it around. Sorry. We're on the Guerilla TV channel. We cover all sorts of politics. We do it on YouTube. So we cover all. I was just talking to the socialist guys along there, so we just cover everything. So it gives you. We just get a sort of overview on what your political opinions are.
I think Paula was probably the best person.
Paula want to talk? Paula, would you like a chat? The Guerilla TV channel. We talk to every day, basically every day, and just get a. Let me just do this, Paula, because the front mic is best. I'll just Guerilla TV channel.
All right.
It's hi Paula, how you doing?
Hi.
So, are you from the Socialist Workers Party?
No, I'm from Disabled People Against Cuts and Unite Community, or DPAC as we're better known.
Fantastic.
Have you heard of us?
No, I haven't actually, but...
We were the ones who stormed Parliament in 2015 around independent living, that was us.
Fantastic. And tell us a wee bit about the organisation, what it stands for.
Disabled People Against Cuts are against all the cuts that disabled people and all of us in society are experiencing. So we're against cuts to the welfare state, we're against cuts to the NHS, we're against cuts to transport, so we're for keeping the guards on the train. And our campaign was instrumental in bringing about the complaint against the United Nations Conventions of the Rights of People with Disabilities.
Right.
So this government, the Tory government, were investigated under the convention for the appalling cuts that disabled people have experienced the past 8 years, and they were found guilty of grave systemic human rights violations towards disabled people. And I think that's really important to stress, that the Tory government are committing human rights violations every day to not just towards us, but to refugees, to migrants, and we're seeing a dreadful rise of a hostile environment because of the dreadful rhetoric we see in our mainstream media that's causing mass division in our communities. And we've also experienced a rise in hate crime towards disabled people. So, we campaign against the work with a wide group of campaign organisations and trade unions. But our motto is rights, not charity. We do not agree with multi-million-pound charities colluding with the government at the expense of disabled people.
Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, Mind is one of those, who have health and work programme contracts and individual placement support contracts, and they are very much involved in what is called the NHS 5-year forward view with the mental health task force, where the buzzwords are employment is a health outcome. That's all part of the NHS 10-year forward view, and what we're seeing is a denial of healthcare, denial of referral to hospitals. What you'll see with the NHS 10-year plan is people will be denied access to healthcare. They're bringing in private healthcare insurance. We can't say that clear enough. And why everyone's talking about Brexit and if and not, and we're concerned, our organisation's divided or leave or stay in. But for many disabled people who have personal assistance from who are EU nationals. They're concerned about freedom of movement, losing their personal assistant, who've been with them many years, who know their every move, who know their every, you know, access need and everything.
Are you a Remainer?
Sorry?
You support Remain?
No, we're divided
Oh,
on
it
both sides.
doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
It's
It's basically on austerity.
Yeah, it's austerity.
No.
And the thing is, for us, we are concerned about the impact of human rights. The government's operandus was to repeal the Human Rights Act, and there's no talk about the British Bill of Rights and what that means, you know. And that bill's on hold to the outcome of Brexit, and I think people need to look at that bill and what that means. But, you know, at the end of the day, austerity's still here, the NHS is still being ripped to bits, the welfare state's still being dismantled, and I've got to say, you know, in the last few days, the DWP confirmed that 21,000 disabled people who are waiting for assessments and appeals have died while waiting. That the cuts are killing people. These cuts are killing people. 120,000 social care cuts since 2010. You know, over 8 billion's been wiped off social care. We've lost the independent living fund, and disabled people have borne the brunt of austerity more than 9 times more than any other group. If you're an independent living fund user, you've borne the brunt of cuts 19 times more. The cuts have impacted on women, on single mothers, carers, and I think, and we've seen, like, you know, they're using Brexit as a cover to bring out more policy. They're not stopping the domestic policy, no matter what they're voting for in there. They are still bringing out policy that's hurting us dreadfully, and we need to get them out now.
So, I mean, realistically, she's not going to get sacked tonight. I don't think she's not going to go, even after last night's event. So she's going to be, and she can't be replaced internally within that either. So, I mean, it's really. She's going to continue in the position, so the real issue is going to be whether or not what the new Brexit deal is going to be. I would take it that's going to be the real issue, and how that's going to materialise.
Actually, to be honest with you, the real issues I think are going to be in the months to come, as universal credit is rolled out even further, and this is affecting. If you're in work or out of work, and that's going to really hit home. And also, you know, the NHS 10-year plan, which whatever happens, the thing is, you know, will she get another deal? I don't think so, to be honest with you. But, you know, Brexit's going to impact on every man, woman and child in this country. But what we say to the wider community now, to the country, is look, whether you will leave or remain, you know, and there's a lot of division over it, we need you now to come together to fight for our welfare state, fight for our NHS, fight for our local libraries and our local services. Because you're not just doing it for today, we've got to save our NHS and our welfare state for our children and our children's children, and that's really important.
Listen, you've been absolutely super, and well done for stating your case, and thanks very much.
Right. The press pit last time.
So I'm really angry about this. As I said, I've got a family, and you know I'm on benefits. I'm not working. I'm a full-time dad. It's going to affect loads of people on benefits, and you know the Queen has got to get off Buckingham Palace and call an election above May. May's not going to call an election. We'll do it. She's like a dictator hanging on to power. I saw them yesterday, all leaving. We're walking down Monument. I had a row with one of the MPs last night, walking down Monument. I said, time to call election. He said, what opportunity are there? Even the Tories against Labour. I'm not a Labour voter. But we need a change of policy in this country where if a government is failing drastically like this government's doing, the Queen needs to step in and call an election over May's head. She's got to do it.
I don't know how likely that is, but that would be a first time.
Is this not her government? So surely she should come, you know, come down, talk to the people, instead of sitting in Buckingham Palace doing nothing, right? Call election over May's head. May's lost the biggest majority since what, 1927? How can this government stay in power? So many MPs are dropping like flies. All right? You've got the Grenfell, you've got people like Barwell, you've got people like that, Boris Johnson, people like Paget Brown, people like Rockfield and Moore, all involved in Grenfell. Nothing's getting done because they're covering it up. You've got Grenfell, you've got Hillsborough, you've got other things been going on. And I'm so angry with this government, I want to just let rip on here. Because they don't help for the poor people or the normal Joe public in this country. Now, I've had enough. It's time for the Queen to get off her backside, if you mind me saying, that's me in a tower, and call an election above May's head. The public want it. Get these out now.
Fantastic, buddy. But I'm going to charge this phone because it's about to die. Thanks very much. What's your name?
John.
John, thanks very much.
Yeah, cool. No worries. That's to the point.
So, the world's media is here, and not trying for a complete non-event. You obviously weren't watching the Guerilla TV channel to actually be able to recognise that happened here. It's a complete non-event looking at this building for the fact that she is definitely going to pass the confidence vote. I've already put it up. I don't think it's been announced just now because they all seem quite keen, but it's not been announced. But she's definitely going to, and I put it up. I've already stated on the Guerilla TV channel that she's going to pass the vote of no confidence. Waste of time. But they're all here, they're all quite some to do, I guess. But they're from all over the world, really. But very much a non-event. The event is going to be what the deal is going to be. That's going to be the real issue just now. But this, I think this is just a jolly. It was very concerning, some of the MPs today. So Nicola Sturgeon has now called for a referendum in Scotland. And so we're obviously just voting until we actually give the right result. And Nicola Sturgeon obviously wants to be still an SNP generally, because they're effectively a globalist party. Excuse me, I'm just trying to put the tripod up. A globalist party are wanting to remain in the EU. So they're not really an independence party, because obviously being independent, you wouldn't be governed by 28 unelected commissioners in Brussels. So this is a complete turnaround from the last independence event. Now, what independence? I don't know how they would describe the. Sorry, excuse me. They would describe the EU as being independent. It's really an oxy, and it's a complete political oxymoron. It's independence in the EU. So you're basically being governed by 28 unelected commissioners in the EU. Doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. You either support independence, and what will happen now is there'll be other political parties that are now going to come. There are going to be other political parties that will come up in Scotland on the back of not being part of the EU. So even if they are independence parties, even the Conservative Party in Scotland, the actual members, thanks so much, the members of the Scottish Parliament are, and the Conservative members of the Scottish Parliament, and the majority of the Conservative parties, the majority of the Conservatives in the British Parliament are Remainers. So even within the Conservative Party, you don't have in Scotland a party that believes in outside the EU. So in the Conservative Party, obviously gerrymandered the election of Nigel Farage. I mean, I think the case basically proved that they overspent on their political campaign, and that they have basically cheated to make sure Nigel Farage didn't win. Because if Nigel Farage had won, that would have meant that the UKIP would have had probably their strongest guy in the British Parliament. And I mean, Nigel Farage has been ferocious in the European Parliament. if Nigel had got into the Westminster Parliament, and I think that's one of the great losses in British politics, that Nigel didn't get in there, then we would have seen a completely different type of UKIP as well. It would have been an incredible thing, and really the Conservative Party had to cheat, and it's been basically proven to actually show that, to prevent Nigel Farage from actually getting in. So that's a real well, I mean, and if you're in power and you overspend on an election campaign to prevent one of your political rivals actually getting in, they're too keen, the Conservative Party are too keen in politicians like Anna Soubry, who is basically an Angela Merkel type of establishment figure, rather than having Nigel Farage in, even though Nigel Farage is a better politician than Anna Soubry. But yeah, it's just I'm just trying to do two things at once. So I'll just get you up here. So as you can see, all the press are here recording a political non-event. I would, I don't know if you get any odds on me not being deselected here, actually on her vote of no confidence, but I would definitely put money on it that she's not going to go. There's quite a few socialists who would actually like to see her resign or be kicked out, but it happened. And I mean, last night, under normal circumstances, was a massive loss for her, for her losing so badly. But she's already won the vote of no confidence. Oh, sorry, she's already won a vote of no confidence internally within her own party, and she's not likely to be done again. Got up here.
I have to be optimistic. I'm a politician from Northern Ireland. It's important that we try and find a way forward. It's important that we try and find a withdrawal agreement that works for the European Union, yes, but it also works for the Northern Ireland now trying to have their heads in their hands with what's going on in the chaotic situation. But this is a historic time. We are taking huge decisions for the future of the nation. I recognise that. I also recognise that a lot of people do not want to see a no-deal situation. That works for us, a deal that works for Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom, and the whole of the European Union. Thanks very much for your time.
Have you got 1 minute for Norwegian television?
Because I'm doing BBC now, Northern Ireland, so. Okay.
Rob, we put that on if you don't mind. We'll put it Mark first. I have to take them both just for now.
How are you?
How are you, Ireland?
I'm good.
My name's David Ballantyne.
You're still working away, do you?
Ah, yes. We're all big fans of you all up in Scotland. We're dying for a wee chat with you so you can speak to your Scottish friends.
My Scottish friends.
Yeah. We all know you're all Scots over there anyway, Scots Irish.
We're going to hold on tightly to her first. Make sure Northern Ireland get, not leaving us.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, okay.
So, what's going to happen next?
Well, we want Theresa May to use the scale of her defeat last night in the House of Commons to go back to Brussels and say this withdrawal agreement as it's currently constituted is clearly not acceptable to the House of Commons. The backstop in particular is not acceptable and therefore you need to change the backstop.
What's the big problem?
The big problem is the backstop fundamentally changes the nature of the relationship with the United Kingdom. It makes Northern Ireland a part of the single market. We have to take rules from Europe but have no say in those rules, and it creates a barrier down the Irish Sea between Great Britain and the rest of the United Kingdom.
But isn't believing that the EU will come back to Britain just like believing in a song?
No, absolutely not. Because they want a deal, we want a deal, and if we all want a deal, then we have to come back to the table. To have a deal, you have to have both sides agreeing to the deal, and currently the United Kingdom, through the House of Commons, have indicated that they don't accept this current deal.
If this ends up with a no deal, what goes through your mind then?
Well, I very much hope that is not the case, and I very much hope that what we get is a better deal for the whole of the UK and also for the European Union. That's what we want to see happening, and I very much hope that our friends in Europe do the same.
So it looks like from Arlene Foster that Arlene Foster has said that Theresa May is not going to lose the vote of no confidence as well. So that's a very interesting point. DUP is obviously going to support Theresa May in her deal, and so 7 o'clock we'll be finding out what's actually happening. And as I said, it's very much a political non-event, although there's a lot of media interest, obviously, in the vote of no confidence, obviously in the back of what happened last night. But the DUP look like they're going to back it. It's unlikely there's going to be any Conservative rebellion, which would mean that she will win by a narrowish margin. But I think, with Nicola Sturgeon coming down, the likelihood is that the SNP are going to potentially vote against Theresa May in the vote of no confidence. But the numbers don't stack up, so it's very much a non-event. And the vote is coming at 7 o'clock, so it's probably about an hour. So they're going to have to go back inside to cast a vote, and we'll find out very soon what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, well, you might as well.
Oh, it's getting better. So we have a gentleman here from the Conservative Party. He is an activist within the Conservative Party. What's your name again, sir?
My name is Ratib Al-Salama.
And originally from Syria. How long have you been in the UK for?
I've been here like since 91.
Oh, 1991. So you've been here a wee while then?
27 years.
Oh my goodness. So can you tell us a wee bit about what's happening in Syria just now? What's your thoughts? Whereabouts in Syria do you come from originally?
I come from like the east of Syria.
Oh.
Yes. Like Teresa.
Right. Is that on the coast then? Is that towards the coast?
This is the borders like between Iraq and Turkey as well. Like
is that all you? Are you Kurdish?
No, I'm not.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is it northeast?
Yes.
Northeast.
Yes.
Very good, very good. And what's your thoughts on what's happening there from an inside point of view? Then?
Yeah, I think Syria is Syria is start as a revolution, the same as Tunisia, the same as Egypt, the same as Libya, and this revolution stay like 6 months for peaceful.
That's right.
And everybody like demonstrate peacefully, and people they want change because the government, like our government, has been 40 years, and there is no change, no democracy, no speech, no. And people they want to change, and there's 7 or 8 children's been tortured in the prison. And, this is start things in Daraa. And from there, the government starting like
suppressing,
using the military and using the tank and using and they starting like pushing too hard. And this is how it started. And as the people, most of the people, like, they just left the country. Like, now we have nearly 7 million people.
Well, the SNP have got, there's about 2,000 Syrians in Scotland now, just now because they've came to Scotland and they're now living in different parts of Scotland.
I agree with you, yes. And the Syrian now all over the world, like you can say from the Middle East, from Africa, and Australia, and America, everywhere they are, because people, they're looking for a safe place to live.
And live with their
yes,
children.
because people, they have family, they have children, but we feel sorry for the people they stay there now because they live like the last 7 years.
Terrible conditions.
No electricity, no gas, no basic life, water, even the water, they don't have water. So the people they left actually, they are okay.
And also it brought in a more radical form of Islam as well in certain parts.
I think the Islamic things, this is like Daesh and all these things, is just happening as to direct the revolution, like it's not a revolution, it's an Islamic state and all this. This is a propaganda, and this is, I agree, there is an Islamic state party, whatever they call it, and this and that. But there are few people. These people, they are just because they've been fighting the last 7 years, like Daesh and this. But we never hear any one of them. Who is it? What is this? Where it's come from?
They all seem to be foreign as well. A lot of these guys, they don't seem to be Syrians.
Exactly. So the last few months, we see some of the Daesh, and they say like these people. But Daesh actually is like most of them foreigner. They are not Syrian. So as the Syrian, we have no link to these people whatsoever.
Most of my Syrian friends, I've got, as I said, I used to live with Syrians in Dubai, and they were great guys. I absolutely loved them.
I think I'm telling for the people they don't know the Syrian, they are very, very educated.
Yes.
Well known, very hard working people.
And they're also quite liberal as well.
And liberal, and the people like in Syria, you can find the people like the mosque here and
the church here,
the party here, and the people, everybody accept each other, and we love each other. We love life. Syrian people. But unfortunately, what's happened to the country as well? Damascus is like a history, a million years history. It's like a very historical place.
Of course.
And what's happening, I think, is all terrible.
So let me ask you, a lot of people don't understand this. I take it you're a Muslim.
I am.
All right, so a lot of the people don't understand this, and this is something that, because when I was in the Middle East and I read the Quran, and in the Quran it gives a system of governance.
Yes.
And the system of governance in the Quran is a bit totalitarian. It's like the caliph or the leader is prescribed, and it's a bit of it's not like a democratic system. It's like you have a leader, and that within the sort of Muslim world, and that individual. And this is where I think some of the issues have came, because you have like lifetime leaders and they don't move as well. There's not the democracy. I think Tunisia is now becoming a democracy as well. Obviously Turkey is a Muslim country, is a democracy, but in Indonesia, but a lot of the countries have been almost totalitarian. And I wonder if there's a link between the prescribed system of governance in the Quran and also the totalitarianness of a lot of the Arabic or a lot of the Muslim sort of states, I would say.
I don't think there's any link to that, because this is an old things what you're talking about. It's like they used to be like said like they believe in the leader and this and that and that. But this is not anymore, because
you think
now,
people are progressing into they see the benefits of democracy?
Of course, because the government in Syria, nothing to do with Islam. The government of Syria is
secular.
Yes, exactly. So there is nothing to do with Islam. And secondly, in Syria, you can say like before that, it's like everybody do whatever you like. It's like it's the same as Europe. As Europe, you know, you're allowed to drink alcohol, you can go out, you can
party,
smoke, you can. People, you don't feel like you are in an Islamic country, like, you know, the same as like Saudi Arabia or other. It's like you're free to do whatever you like. But unfortunately, after the revolution, people they started thinking, oh, Syria is all about Islam, Syria is all Daesh, Syria is all terrorism.
And it's not the real thing.
It's not that at all whatsoever. I think the Syrian people,
my friend said exactly the same as well.
They've been victimized, and the world knows that. But unfortunately, they don't.
There's so many international political interests in Syria as well, because the Russians, the Americans, the Europeans, and the Iranians, the Saudis are all wanting a piece of Syria, aren't they?
Exactly. And this is what's going on in Syria, because the Russians, they stuck they stick there now and they support Assad the last 7 years. But they know at the end of the day, Assad, he's doing what he's doing. He's bombing his own people. He's every day he's committed a crime, but they still supporting him.
So let me ask you, what is the relationship then with the Kurds then with Assad? Are they on a working relationship then? Because obviously the Kurds, a lot of Kurds like the PKK are communist, aren't they? They're a communist organisation within the Kurdistan, or the larger the Kurds are in Turkey, Iraq, Iran. And they're in about 4 different countries, the size of it. Yes. So what's the relationship there with the Kurds and the Kurd regime?
I think the Kurdish, they're looking to have their own country and they want to have their own space. But unfortunately, this is it's not going to happen because what's happening when the revolution starts, there's a deal between the Kurdish and the government. The government left all the government space to the Kurdish people in that area and left them to
go on with
control
so they're
without no war. So they take advantage of the things, and now they're controlling like many places in Syria. And this is like what's happening. The people that are going to the revolution, people that are in the revolution and they demonstrate, but the Kurdish others, they are not doing. And this is what is happening. This is like, and I think now as well the Kurdish, they done what they done, but they will not. They will pay the price. Because what's the price? They're not going to get nothing.
They're not going to get their homeland.
Because the end of the day, it's like Syria. They are Syrian and they live in Syria the last. So in this time, why are you doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Why are you trying to make another country? And Syria is already like.
Yeah, well, the Turks don't want it either because there's a large part of Turkey that it's got a large Kurdish area as well, isn't it?
Yes, it's not only the Turkish they don't want, or the Iranian they don't want, or the Iraq they don't want. It's like they are minority, small. Like Syria, it's about 25 million. They are maybe 1 million or 2 million. They live in one city, roughly, in Syria. And we have 14 cities. So you can't make a country in one city. So that's meaning we have 14. And this is not acceptable. It's not going to happen. And I support the Kurdish. They are good people, very nice people. But you can't make a country in a small country. We're already a country. We are a country. Syria is a big country. So you can't make a country.
Would you go back if the war stopped? And would you go back? Or are you quite happy here?
Yeah, I would love to go back. I would love to build my country. I would like to support the people, educate the people, help do something. Definitely. And yes, I'm here, my family here.
Yeah. Do you like it here? What's your thoughts?
I like it here, of course.
It's a bit cold. It's a bit cold.
Yeah, I've been here like the last month. So it's to be my home at the moment, my second home.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, we missed the family. My mom, I don't see her the last 7 years. My family, my brother, my other. So to me, it's hard. It's still, when I think about it, sometimes I say, okay, let me go back. I want to go back, see my family. It doesn't matter if I'm going to die, let me die. But at the end of the day, I have kids here as well, 4 kids. So it's, for me, it's tough. It's very hard. Like I'm between here and there, so it's not easy.
Fantastic. Listen, thank you very much.
Very nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Absolute star. Thank you. Thank you. That was very interesting what's happening in the Middle East as well. I mean, it's a very complex situation. And but it's really, I think it's very important to listen to people who actually have been there and get their views on what's actually happening. Sometimes through the media it can be distorted, and it's very important to listen to other people. Let's go in with the votes coming up, so I think a lot of the MPs will be disappearing, so let's remove this and see if we can find some MPs. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Norway Television.
Great, thanks, mate. I will be
So I don't think anything is substantially happening here. Just in anticipation of the vote.
Did you just say a few words for the level, please? But it's still seems an attitude.
So I think I'm going to cut it there, and we'll get back on, do some more live streaming once they've actually announced the vote. I don't think anything's happened. We'll wait till the MPs come out after 7 o'clock, and hopefully we can get some more interviews. Sometimes some of the most interesting interviews are not with people who you would actually think. So, let me just squeeze that down. Scottish television there. How you doing? You okay?
You're getting what you need.
Yeah, it's always good to see your face. Yes. Yes. Bye. So, yeah, so very interesting. It's always interesting seeing around the back. You never get to see this side of it. It's all very polished, but this is just the back end of what actually happens down here. I mean, some of the stages now that are been set up are just absolutely huge. I think some of these to stop the protesters and make sure that they get the correct footage. But Sally Magnuson there on Scottish television. Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. But there's nobody of any note just now. I think they're all back in and they will be going through the lobbies quite soon. 7 o'clock is the vote. So